Very much. Flick Drummond.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I'd like to congratulate my honourable friend for East Worthing and Shoreham and the Honourable Lady for York Central for securing this debate. But I'd also like to thank Josh McAllister for the work he's done to produce this report. Now, the Department of Education says that this is a once-in-generation opportunity to reform children's social care. I certainly mean no criticism of Mr McAllister or the hard-working people in child social care, but it is not good enough that we have to conduct strategic levels of this topic. As Mr McAllister says, he's tried to echo the message from other reviews over the last 30 years. We debate it regularly in this House, and we have all kinds of reports and reviews, including the one I worked on with my honourable friend, the member for Worthing, East Worthing and Shoreham back in 2007, called The No Blame Game, The Future of Children's Social Workers, which pointed out much that's in this report. So that was about 14 years ago now, I think? 15 years ago. There is also an unacceptable recurrence of tragic cases of neglect and agency failure which generate great emotion, press coverage and the political will to change with the reports published. Baby P, Damiola Taylor, Victoria Climbier, Star Hobson, Arthur Labinjo Hughes, all the way to the tragic death of Awib Isaac. Children are all too often still becoming victims because their circumstances are not identified or followed up. While some of the cases become high profile nationally, many others emerge all the time across the country without getting more than local coverage in the media. So I want to concentrate on a few points where we need to change in this big and complex area. Firstly, expert practitioners, which is mentioned in the report. One of the recommendations in the report is that any case of significant harm should be overseen by an expert practitioner alongside the family help team. The suggestion in the report is that these should initially be recruited on the basis that they can demonstrate skills from their time in practice with a future standard of completing a 5-year early career framework. Now, I welcome the establishment of a standard for expert practitioners and the early career framework. We have to keep more social workers in the profession to form the core of our expert practitioners. The picture for the early career social workers is similar to that of teachers, where many leave within 5 years of beginning their career and others move from local authority posts into agency roles. Another persistent feature is that our most experienced and able social workers are taken out of practicing with children and families and moved into management roles. We asked for a career path at the front line in the report in 2007. I'm not decrying the need for good management of social care. I would argue that it needs to be improved, if anything, given the record of failure in child protection. But it would benefit everyone if more senior workers are practicing and passing on their skills and experience to others in a direct way. It would improve the management of services to have experienced eyes and ears able to feed back where things are going badly and where they're going well. The next point is advocacy. The report highlights the potential for confusion for young people about who should be speaking up for them. Independent reviewing officers are often not engaged enough with children to be effective advocates. So we need a clear plan for replacing IROs, and the recommendation of the report is clear about this. So I look forward to seeing the government's full response. But I would welcome any thoughts the Minister, and welcome to her place, any thoughts that she can share with us as to when the Department intends to consult on a framework for advocacy. That includes advocacy for parents and for other families acting in that role. The report finds that parents are too often viewers of child protection conferences rather than participants. And although the report is less prescriptive on this aspect, I hope ministers will consider a formal framework for it. Too many children are disappearing off the radar when their parents tell local authorities that they are homeschooling their children. I know that many parents can arrange a good education for their child, but it is still important that the development and safety of children who are not in schools can be monitored. I appreciate the concerns about some parents about being registered. However, I do think the evidence shows that we must act to look at the needs of children who are currently not being educated and cared for properly. I am concerned that the government might be slipping back from the long-held position that it should be registration of children being homeschooled. In a written answer on Part 3 of the Schools Bill in the other place on November the 7th, Baroness Barron said the department's position on the school bills will be confirmed in due course. Then on Monday, the Schools Minister gave a written answer to my honourable friend, the member for Morecambe and Lonsdale, that the department is satisfied that the existing powers local authorities have are sufficient. Can the Minister tell me, does this mean that the registration of homeschooled children is not now being proceeded with? If the register is being scrapped, what has prompted the changes of mind on the part of government from its long-held view, which I share, that this is important for the welfare of children? Local authorities do great work to support children across the range of educational settings, and I now want to pay tribute to the work being done by Hampshire County Council. Its leader, Councillor Rob Humby, and the Deputy Chair and former Executive Member for Children, Councillor Ros Chad, and the Director, particularly the Director of the Children's Services, Steve Crocker. Hampshire's Children's Services is actually outstanding. Not excellent, it is outstanding. Families in Mearn Valley have a great team looking after them, but I'm concerned that after my recent meeting here in Parliament with Rob Humby and Ros Chad, that the funding pressures they face now risk the delivery of statutory and core services. I'm conscious that we're talking today about how services can be improved, but they have to be funded. And I'll be writing to ministers about this very shortly to support the work that Hampshire is doing. One other aspect of local authority work in Hampshire, which I want to highlight and praise its work, is fostering. I recently visited a meeting of foster carers from across the country in Hampshire's Hive pilot scheme, very similar to the Mockingbird scheme that the Honourable Lady mentioned, the Honourable Lady from York Central mentioned. This is led by Amy Alexander and Kat Roberts. The Hive model creates local groups of foster carers, each led by a carer support worker who are themselves foster carers. This helps develop support networks for carers and encourages the development of a sense of community. There are 12 hives currently in the pilot scheme across Hampshire, and I'm delighted that we have one working in Waterlooville in my constituency. And I'm looking forward to meeting up soon with Johnny Crichton and his team of families. The Hive model is part of a wider package of support for fostering, and I do hope that it will encourage more families to look at getting involved. It can be so rewarding for foster families, as we've heard from my honourable friend for Edisbury, as well as the children who become part of that family. Finally, we should look at what charitable and social organisations can do to help young people get a sense of what is possible in life and build their resilience. In particular, I'm thinking of an organisation like Plan B in Hampshire. With Plan B, John Gillard has been working for many years in Gosport with young people who have lost contact with mainstream education, including some of my constituents from Mearn Valley. John uses his skills as a sailor to involve these young people in maritime-based skills and activities, as well as education. So things like boat building, carpentry, sailing, and all kinds of practical skills which deliver real vocational training for young people. And this kind of alternative provision is a perfect opportunity for many young people from troubled backgrounds. It helps find them a sense of direction, and John has helped turn so many young lives around. He is just an extraordinary man. So one of the reasons, and I couldn't stop without talking to the Department of Education about this, is one of the reasons I'm so keen to have a reformed assessment of 18 is that so many children have a false start in education and our current assessment methods fail them. There are many children who find quite late on in their childhood something like Plan B or some other vocational setting which really inspires them. They deserve the chance to have an assessment framework which recognises their needs and sets them on a course of a career and an independent life. So education and social work have to work together and work in the same direction to improve the life chances of young people from troubled or disadvantaged backgrounds.
Yes. Jim Shannon.